Hey y'all, welcome to another episode with lenscapturetm where we explore, capture, and create. You know it's your boy Romy, and today we'll be doing a follow-up based on my last video where I had talked about the 5 things that you need to be aware of before you get in photography. Now, if you did not see that video, there's a link up here. You can go ahead and click on that and you can watch it. We're talking about gear. So that's all we'll be talking about today, gear. And the first thing on the list is actually camera. When it comes down to your camera, there's only 2 types of cameras you can pretty much choose from. And that's based on the sensor size. So the sensor size is either full frame or APS-C. Now keep in mind that APS-C is less expensive than full frame, but it does have a crop factor. So when you're talking about APS-C, you have Canon. Their APS-C is at 1.6 crop, and 1.5 crop is for Pentax, Nikon, Sony, the other brands. Now just to give you an example and an idea of exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the sensor and crop factor, take a look at my image here, right? If we're shooting on a full frame sensor, you'll be getting everything that's in the yellow area, which is actually 35 millimeters, and that's a beautiful lighthouse, by the way. Now if you were shooting on a Nikon, Pentax, or a Sony that has a 1.5 crop, you'll be getting the picture of what's in the white area. So as you can see, the 35mm has cropped all the way down, so you'll pretty much just be getting the lighthouse, not the rest of the scene. And if you're shooting on a Canon, it's gonna be cropped even more, so only the pink area from that image. So there you go. That's why it's very important to choose your camera based on your sensor, so you know exactly what you're gonna go for. And other things in choosing a camera boils down to personal preference. So you can look at like the shutter speed, the ISO, the focus points, Wi-Fi capability, touchscreen, if the monitor can be flicked out or not. Those are all your preferences. Now, after you get the camera, you have to think about the lens. Most cameras do come with a kit lens, and normally a kit lens is from 18 to 55 millimeter. Once you start shooting, you'd actually like to get your own set of lenses based on the type of photography you're doing. The kit lens actually can get your feet wet into photography to have an idea of exactly what you need to be shooting. So with the kit lens, it is very affordable. So you scratch it, you break it, you can replace it easily because it's not that expensive. And keep in mind that the kit lens have a deep, wide depth of field, meaning that anything you're shooting, you'll not be getting blur behind it. So most of your images, everything will be in focus. But a kit lens is good to start to get your feet wet. It's great for landscape because it goes from 18 to 55. For portraits, you can use it anywhere from 35 to 55 mm and you get good shots. These pictures were taken with my kit lens. So that's the George Washington Bridge in the background. That's a night exposure, and that's at 18 millimeter, right? The other picture is me on the beach in Jamaica. That's 18 millimeter. That's a portrait. The sea behind me is in focus, but that horizon is beautiful, so it's great to have it. The Holland Bamboo in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. That was taken with me standing in the road at 25 millimeter. You do get nice shots out of a kit lens, so don't be afraid to start using your kit lens and getting your feet wet. Now, when it comes to choosing your lenses, let's say you have an idea of how you want to shoot, what you want to shoot, and you're going to get your lenses. There are 3 main categories you have to choose from. You're looking at wide angle, standard or prime, or telephoto. Now keep in mind that within these 3 main categories, you do have different type of lenses. Let's take a look at the chart I have on here. If you're doing the ultra wide angle, that can be anywhere from 8 to 24 millimeter. And that's great for panoramic shots, cityscape, landscape, real estate, and abstract. Picture on the screen that was taken with my wide angle at 10 millimeters, right? And that's a George Washington Bridge, by the way. Also have the 24 to 35 millimeter. That's the standard wide angle, and those lenses are great too for architecture, interiors, landscape, forest photography, right? So don't be afraid to use it in the outdoors. The next lens we're going to is the standard and prime. Now keep in mind that prime lenses have a set focal length. So what that means is you can't zoom in or zoom out. It's just set. If you want to get your object or your model closer, you have to walk in or you walk back to have them further away. So a prime lens is just a standard focal point that doesn't change. You have 35mm primes, 50mm primes, 85mm prime, 135mm prime. And these are great for portrait photography, wedding, street photography, and stuff like that. Now, other than the prime, the next would be the zoom. So the zoom is where you stand still and you use your camera and zoom in, or you use your camera and zoom out. That's pretty much what a zoom lens is. When you're looking at prime lenses, some prime lenses have a macro feature. Macro features allows you to take pictures at a very close proximity to your object. So with my camera there, it does not have the macro feature. So you see what happens when I get close? I'm out of focus. That's simply what a macro lens does. So the next one on the list is the telephoto lens. The telephoto lens is pretty much used for long distance photography. So if you're shooting sports, wildlife, astronomy, you'd need a telephoto lens because the moon is far away. So to actually zoom the moon up so you can see details, you need a telephoto lens. People use it to do sports too. If you're in the stands, you can get right on that field by zooming in and take a nice shot. The picture you're seeing on the screen is taken with my telephoto lens at 135mm, and as you can see, that bird is pretty much clear as day. It's like I was in the sky beside the bird, right? Yeah, so that's what a telephoto lens does, and anything from 100 to 600mm is considered a telephoto. The last thing on the list for today is tripods. Yep, you need a tripod for photography because a tripod does provide stability. So let's say you want to take a shot and you don't want to have any camera shake at all, so you can't hold the camera in your hand. That's where a tripod is effective. That's a picture I took of a waterfalls. A tripod is good for long exposure too, because I took that picture of 15 seconds shutter speed. So I had it on my tripod, I just pressed the shutter and allow that exposure to go for 15 seconds without any shake or interruption. And that's how you make a waterfall silky. Beautiful shot. You can also do family portraits that includes you, the photographer. That's a picture taken by me and my family on Christmas. I had my camera on a tripod, self-timer, boom. There was the shot. So let's recap. First thing you need to do is choose your camera, and you're going to be looking at your sensor, whether it's full frame or APS-C, keeping in mind that APS-C is way cheaper than the full frame. Then you have to get your lenses. Normally a camera comes with a kit lens, so you can use that lens to do what you need to do or get your feet wet. Then you get into the type of lens you want based on the category and what you're shooting, whether it's wide angle, standard, prime, or telephoto. And the last thing on the list, you need to get yourself a tripod. You know it's your boy Romy. This is another episode here on lenscapturetm. Thank you for your support. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. You have anything you want to ask, you ask. You want me to talk about something, you tell me. Let's keep this channel happy and educational. Have yourself a great time, y'all. I'm out.